Okay guys, welcome back. Okay guys, just got a few minutes. Guys, this is just a little bit of history revisited. This is a driver that I had, well I didn't have this one, but I had this model back in I think it was 1998 they came, or 2000. Yeah, I think about 2000. And I actually, it's a tailor-made 580 XD. And I actually hit this 365 yards, not this one, but this club, at my club. Okay, I had a bit of wind behind me that day, but 365. And I hit that club so far for about 2 weeks, and it broke. It split in the face. And I never got another one that was comparable. Anyway, I went off and onto other things, but I remember that driver. And Mr. X had one, and he put a Project X shaft in it that I gave him. And we were hitting it last week, or a couple of weeks ago, and it was fantastic. And I mentioned it. And one of the guys who's a subscriber, lives here in Australia, from Western Australia, Paul Gunning, said, I've got one of those JH, I'll send it over to you. I haven't used it. I bought it back in that period of time. The only difference between this guy's and the one I had, this is a 10.5, mine was a 8.5. But we put this on the machine, it's actually 9.5. But it's got the original shaft in it, and I put the bigger grip on it, but it's a lot longer than the driver I normally use. So I haven't hit it yet, Paul, so it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. And we've got that wind coming off the right there. I'll just grip it down a little bit. This is an old friend revisited. 2000 technology. Wow, look at that. Look at that, hit that down the out of bounds fence and just came back in. Wow, not bad, Paul. Huh? Feels ungainly. What does it feel like compared, of course, we were hitting some shots yesterday with the latest colourways and with the top line shafts in them. This feels a little bit deader off the face. Doesn't have the ball speed, I wouldn't think, that those new drivers have got, but that's quite interesting how far that's gone. Amazingly so. But that was the first hit, Paul, so it's an old friend revisited. And it's the original shaft. It's a Fujikura 65 gram, which was pretty high tech in those days. And it's a stiff shaft. And these were tip stiff. These were actually quite stiff in the tip. So that wasn't bad. It's actually quite a nice flight. Hit that good, but just because it's a bit longer than I normally have, I've just got to get the club head in quicker because the face was open there. Come off the club beautifully. Come on, just get it in there earlier, Jase. Like that. That's a good shot. What's it feel like in terms of spin? It actually feels low spin. Maybe because it was tip stiff. Remember, most of the balls back in those days were high spin balls. There's no such thing as a low spin ball in that day. All right, I'm used to it now. 2 shots. Just having trouble getting the head in. Of course, the club's longer. It's nearly 45 inches, this club, and my driver's 41 and a half. So I've just got to get the club head operating a bit quicker. Just get the hands in quicker, Jade. Like that. Gee, that's good flight, Paul. Have a look at that. Whew. So it's actually quite low spin. And it feels very, very tip stiff. Very tip stiff. And that's why it's going low. And these range balls are actually high spin balls. And these are all new balls, brand new. So it's actually hitting that quite low. It's it's actually 9.2 degrees we put on the machine yesterday. And these were 400 cc's, I think. Yeah, 400, not 460. Come on, Jay. Just got to get the hands in because it's longer. Come on, just speed the hands up. Like that. I cannot be have first hit. Old friend revisited. Haven't had one of these in my hand since 2000. Wow. Just thought I'd do a bit of fun. Just. This is actually an old ball. It's actually got a split in it, guys, so it might go sideways. Come on, Jay. Nice flight. Okay, guys, that's 2000 model Taylor. That was the first hits with it. What's the shaft like? 20-year-old shaft, but it feels good. And I think once I got used to it, with the feel of, just hang on a second, just grab a couple of proper balls. Okay guys, there's a couple of green Pro V1s. Or yellow, whatever colour they are. I need those because I can't see the ball these days. This will be interesting because the range ball compared to the Pro V. Look at that go. Wow. There's a creek down there, but that's gone across the creek. A long way across the creek. I've got to cross the creek to find it. I knew I wouldn't hit it in the creek because I knew I'd fly the creek. But they go so much harder, guys, the proper golf ball. They're really strong. The wind is now this way. Wants to blow it over the fence. That's just a bullet, guys. Look at that go. Wow. Okay, Paul. 20 years old. An old friend revisited. We're going to test it this afternoon against my buddies. He's got the Sub-Zero Callaway with the handmade shaft in it, the $500 shaft. So this in a bargain barrel, guys, in a shop you buy for 40 bucks these days, 50 bucks. So, and I reckon I can match this club up against his club with that shaft, and it's, you know, well over $1,000. So, and so what's the difference between the two drivers? $950. That's the difference. And that was a pretty good shot. They were beautiful shots. And that was the first time I'd hit them, Paul. Just put my big grip on to try it. And these were actually, even though they were 45 inches long, they were quite light. They were only D1 in swing weight, so by putting that big heavy grip on, these big grips are like I think they're about 80 grams, these big jumbos. Normal grip's about 55, so that's probably got it down to like C7 or something like that, so it's quite light. And that's probably those early shots. Just took me a while to get the head feel. Okay guys, that's just a bit of fun. So Paul, thanks for that. And Paul sent me over some old Cleveland clubs from 20 years ago as well, the old TA5s with sensor cores in them, and so I'm going to do a test on those on the weekend against my Taylors and just see what the difference is in distance. I've got all the specs on the lofts on those, so it'll be interesting. So I'll do that test on the weekend. But Paul's clubs are an inch longer and they're very upright, so it'll be very interesting to see how they go compared to mine. Okay guys, thanks for that Paul. Just a bit of fun to try that out. 20-year-old driver. Goes pretty good. Goes very good.